are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 518, part of the Lineups Podcast Network at lineups.com, the Big Heads Media Network at bigheadsmedia.com, and Dash Radio. I am Jay, and I'm not in this episode. This is actually an episode of Long Suffering Knicks podcast, and Marc joined them. So they had a really good conversation, and we're going to put this out so you guys can listen to it. And you should check out their show too, because it's really good. It's really entertaining. I enjoyed listening to this. I should not be on the show more often because this was a really good listen, and I liked it. So enjoy, and we'll be back in a couple days with the two of us. I had some computer problems, and they're fixed. So I'm back. So enjoy.
You know, it's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am, how depressed I am about the New York Knicks.
If there is a sixth game, it'll be played in Madison Square Garden Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Frazier hits another one.
From the outside, Bradley stays outside against Reardon this time. Frazier goes up. He's got two more. It's
In particular, with the way the Clippers have been shooting, Fury is certainly enjoying the ball.
Porter got it away. No good. Just missed. And the New York Knicks have become the second team in NBA history to knock off a number one. 8 over a number one, only the second time in NBA history.
The New York Knicks select R.J. Barrett.
What's going on, Knicks fans? And thank you for joining us for another episode of Long Suffering, a New York Knicks podcast. I'm your host, Troy. Joining me is my co-host, Jay. And we have a Knicks loss and post-game analysis to get to. I'm excited, if you can't hear. Plus, we have a very special guest, and we'll get to him in a second. I just want to remind our listeners to like, share, and subscribe to our content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or even on Google Podcasts. And wherever you listen to your pods, I'm sure you're going to find us there too. I want to say thank you again to all of our fans listening all over the world. We have fans everywhere, and sometimes it surprises me on the locations where you guys listen. But thank you for listening. Appreciate it, and keep suffering with us. And speaking about more suffering, if you want to stay up to date with all of the Knicks-related content that we have to offer, and we always provide the best, I want you to go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's easy. Just search Long Suffering, a New York Knicks podcast to find us, and join the suffering. I think Jay told us not to be lazy last week. I'm going to say that again. Don't be lazy. Join us, please. Now, I did mention we have a special guest, right? One half of the New York Knicks podcast and the Brink of Sanity podcast. Please help me welcome Marc. Marc, What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. Not bad. Outside of the Knicks being bad, I'm doing good. I like your, I was just thinking your intro. I like the intro. It's really well done. Did you guys put it together?
Yeah, one of our previous co-hosts, actually, Brian, who used to be on the show with us, he was the DJ for us and constructed that audio, and it just blended together so well.
I was just thinking it would be, because when you at the end you have the draft pick of R.J. Barrett. It would just be so funny if you're, instead of R.J. Barrett, you'd say the Knicks selected Landry Fields. You just pick a random draft pick.
If you're gonna do it,
a completely random one,
it's got to be Frederick Weiss, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man!
As far as I'm concerned,
that would be more fitting with your show. If the Long Suffering, you got to do Weiss.
You know that might happen. Actually, he might have just changed the intro in 20 seconds.
I just want to ask you guys: do you think the Knicks are better pre or post insurrection? Has the insurrection thrown the Knicks off? I'm assuming that's what did it.
I think they're a little bit distracted by the attempted coup. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think it's
just
safe to say.
just a little bit, and we're definitely gonna touch on that, especially with all of the other things that are happening, just in New York in general. So I'm gonna put it out there, and just in New York, pretty sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. But whatever. And by the way, shout out to Jay, who couldn't be with us today. Not RJ, obviously. We're gonna call him Jeff today. RJ
Sure.
is gonna be Jeff today, and Mark's Jay from their podcast. That Jay, I'm saying a shout out to him because he's not with us today. And I can't wait to have you both on at some point. I keep saying that. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen.
We'll make it work for next show. We'll make it work for next time.
All right, deal.
But pleasure to join you guys and excited to talk about this goddamn awesome team with you guys.
Yes. But before we do, I want to go ahead and jump into a segment that we have here called Around the NBA. So obviously, if you haven't been following anything or not listening to any sports radio, let me help you get some enlightenment here. James Harden is now a Brooklyn Net. We are actually going to dive into this a bit later on the show. I just wanted to highlight your mornings or your days or wherever you're listening to this with that beautiful, wonderful news. Next, due to COVID-19 NBA protocols, which is basically contact tracing, a number of NBA games involving the Wizards have been postponed. The reason? 5 actual Wizard players have tested positive for the coronavirus. No names have been announced as of yet, but a lot of their games are going to be played very, very later and probably back to back. So I feel bad for Wizards and Wizards fans. Joseph Nurkic, unfortunately, has broken his wrist. That happened against the Pacers in the third quarter on their game Thursday night. Want to wish him a speedy recovery. I think he broke his leg not too long ago.
I was about to say, he breaks at something every single season, so it's par for the course.
Right, I just feel so bad for the kid, and just want to wish him a speedy recovery. I know he's a Blazer. I know he's not a Knick, but I don't want to see anybody injured, especially young players who have so much talent. So, best wishes to that guy. I hope he does come back stronger.
Do you think Portland would should they? I mean, just thinking of them and the injury, should they trade a first round pick for Nerlens Noel? I mean, we could just it's okay. We could spare him. It's a tough situation. We'll take a first round pick for him. Is that
after that inspired performance tonight? He is due for a max as a matter.
Yeah,
yeah. Contract extension coming along for Nerlens
because everybody needs a 7 foot, 165-pound man who can't shoot. That's what everybody needs.
Or get above the rim for a lob.
That too. Anyway, sorry, Troy. We've hijacked around the NBA, and now everything is out of control.
It's okay. It was out of control once I think Thursday hit, so it's okay. We've all lost control since then. But
are you guys at all are you guys at all scared that the Knicks watch this and James Dolan is like, we have to trade a first round pick for Andre Drummond right now and max him out? It has to happen.
I mean,
oh my God. I mean, they traded for Dennis Smith. They traded KP for Dennis Smith after he dropped 30 on the Knicks. So
you're right.
Anything could happen.
You're right.
Listen, in this type of NBA, anything could happen. And speaking about that, anything could happen. Let's talk about another Brooklyn Net, but not in the favorable way as James Harden got. Kyrie Irving. Where is Kyrie Irving? Oh, wait. He's actually being fined, $50,000 for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols. And not only that, but he still remains out due to these violations and is said to be returning, quote unquote, soon.
I put this on Twitter, but I'm working on a children's book. It's like Where's Waldo, but instead you're the Nets. On each page you have to find Kyrie.
Oh my God.
I would buy that now.
By the way, if you do have kids out there, you may want to skip over the strip club page, which is pages 6 to 18.
Mark the pages, please.
Oh my God. Incredible. All right.
The Brooklyn Nets are, and I'm going to say just one thing about them. The Brooklyn Nets right now, they're a question mark. And that's the biggest thing I will say just about them. I'm going to speak a little bit more about them when we get to James Harden in a second. But I want to say something about our Knickerbockers. So again, we did lose today against the Cavs. I know, right? Finally, we did lose against the Cavs, but don't worry, we will rise again because we are playing Sunday at 1 p.m. against an extremely tough Boston Celtics team. But before we get to that Celtics team, I want to go ahead and break down, this incredible game that we just watched with the New York Knicks losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 106 to 103. That was the final score. Mark, based on what you saw and all the lovely plays that we were able to do, what do you think about this game, man?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to go to the positives because, like, it's so easy to go to the negatives. On the positives, like, quickly looks to that his stretch of terribleness seemed to be over. He looked good against the Nets. He looked very good tonight. There's some problems with his game, but like he's looking like the player you want. Randall continues to look good. I'm still a big fan of Randall, which I'm shocked to be saying at this point in the season, but I am a big fan. And Barrett wasn't so bad. I mean, there were some strong positives. I guess what really matters now, my question to you guys, does winning matter or like just these guys performing? I don't know. What's the point anymore of anything?
Nothing matters.
What matters anymore? I just like it's great that quickly look good. And that's kind of what you want to see. I don't know why Peyton looks like goddamn trash. What like, do the wins matter? Just the actual, I don't know where we're going anymore. Where are you guys with, like, let me ask you, Randall. Where are you guys with Randall?
So
build around him. He's got to be traded. What do you guys think?
So, I'm not sure either, actually. I think I'm kind of in a holding pattern with Randall because we have a team option for next year. So I'm not in any rush to trade, and I'm not in any rush to necessarily do any kind of extension and promise him the key to the city, which, frankly, New York City, you don't want the key to right now anyway. That being said, I feel like I'm going to speak on behalf of Troy, something I don't often do, but I think it's appropriate now. We've been in the camp where we just want to see positive, like, basketball, like decent basketball, 48 minutes of like effort and guys improving.
Yeah.
If I can get that, I'm satisfied. So, I mean, I guess we got that.
I guess some guys played well. Toppin only played 10 minutes. I don't know if it's because he just got back from injury or because he doesn't look that great or because Tibbs wants to like win the game and can't play Toppin if he's going to win the game. Knox looked okay, though. You'd think like if we're going to develop Knox, he's got to play more than 18 minutes.
Personally, here's the thing about this game, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple things you can always pick out the positives, and I can take a look at the positives for days. I mean, quickly stat line is a positive. His stat line against Brooklyn was a positive. The fact that this brother can draw fouls in his sleep is a positive. He's a rookie and he is killing it. He's looking like the steal of the late draft. He is. It looked like the Knicks got another one with him. But see, the thing is with Toppin, I said this to Jay actually. I caught a lot of hate for this actually, and I think Jay, you remember. I wasn't impressed with Toppin in the preseason, and I said it. I told people that I love Toppin. I wanted him to be our pick. I didn't shy away from that. I thought if Killian Hayes was there and Toppin was there, you have to draft Toppin. That's what I thought, right? So we got him, and I was happy with that. His play in the preseason was so slow. He didn't understand pace, and you saw it. Tonight, his game looked a lot sharper because he looked like he understood where to be and his pace. So as Knick fans, we should be at least happy with that. What it means for his offensive game right now is a question mark because I haven't seen him put it on the floor like he did in Dayton at all yet.
So are you saying you're unimpressed with Toppin because you have eyes?
A little bit. Just a little bit, yeah.
It's weird. So I understand like the end, like it takes some players are good right away and some players take time. Some players are a little more projects.
Yeah.
I just feel like Toppin was, and quote unquote, sold to me as a guy that will like, his defense will be suspect. He'll have to catch up with defense. And obviously he's a little bit of a project, but like he's NBA ready on offense. And he could not be further from NBA ready on offense, is my take on it. Whatever we saw at Dayton, he does not seem to be, and he may get there. He's a hard worker. Next season, maybe after he's been playing for a year, he might be a lot better. But right now, he does not look like he's going to really contribute on the NBA court. At the same time, you got to play him. You got to develop him. It just doesn't look that great so far.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I've every time that I come on this show, which seems to be like, pretty regularly, uh, I've always kind of preached like patience and that things take time and guys are young and this and that. So I'm going to go that route with Obi. My eyes don't deceive me, though. There's no doubt Mark is right. He does not look as advertised coming out of the draft, but I'm not ready to say that he can't get there. I think he needs more seasoning. I think part of the problem is, he occupies the same position as Julius Randle, and it's going to be tough for him to get sufficient minutes. He's going to have to prove himself in practice and get back into game shape in order to, I think, crack more than 10 minutes a game. I think he's lucky he even got that right now. And Knox too, is going to soak up some of those minutes a little bit as well. So he's got some roadblocks ahead. There's no doubt, but I'm far from giving up on him. In fact, I think if he could go back to more of a high flyer slash to the lane energy effort kind of guy instead of this kind of keep moving around perpetual motion around the perimeter, where he's going to be taking these high arcing threes that frankly he's probably not going to make at such a high clip. I don't think that's the offense that he needs to be in personally.
Yeah, I think he just needs. It's going to take him a little while to learn what his role is going to be or how he's going to adapt to the NBA game. And the Knicks point guard situation, having like Elfrid Payton out there doesn't really help. And quickly, he's looked really good, but Toppin could still use a more wide open offense with 3-point shooting to help his game. I was watching tonight. I was watching Larry Nance, and I was like, is Nance kind of Toppin's future? I mean, not even Nance is not bad. He's just not like he's not an all-star, obviously, but like he has that same kind of build, very athletic, like a lot, like super ups. Can't necessarily shoot from the outside, though Nance made a couple tonight.
Yeah, well, first of all, I have just full disclosure. Larry Nance, I always have a massive amount of respect for him, and that's like an odd player to choose to have a lot of respect for because I actually have Crohn's disease myself. And so does Larry Nance, and that guy goes out there and balls out and plays his ass off with Crohn's disease, which can be pretty debilitating. So I just give him credit for being an NBA player with what he's going through. So that aside, if Obi were to have a ceiling of Larry Nance, I'd be a little bit disappointed because I really feel like he was drafted in a high position where he's expected to produce more than that. And Larry Nance is a nice like role player, but I'm getting a little tired of drafting role players in the top 10. That's just me. But I don't know if that's his ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know if it really is either. It's just funny with the Knicks that like they seem to be solid getting like we can find a guy in the mid to late 20s who's a solid point guard. We can find our center in the second round. We can't seem to find a good player in the top 10.
The craziest part about this draft, and the thing again, I still want to say Toppin is going to be fine.
Yeah.
I have faith in Toppin. I'm not worried for Toppin because his improvement from what I saw in the beginning to what I saw now is tremendous. If you just use the eye test a little bit from what you saw in his preseason games to what he did tonight, he looks a lot more locked in and focused on what his game actually is supposed to be. Now, he didn't make some shots. He did try to jump out of the gym. And I still think Larry Nance is great. He's good. He's a solid player. He don't got ups like Obi. Obi legitimately could jump you out of this man. His head is at the rim near half the time he jumps, and he's not running to the rim. Imagine him running at full speed to the rim. His head's going to be above it.
Well, he needs more than 10 minhan to prove that because right now he's not getting any play.
But you got to earn it, though. You got to earn it. And I don't think on the defensive end he's earning it. And that's why Thibs took him out. Personal opinion. That's why I don't think he played the latter half.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you think when the G League opens up, the Knicks should give him some rundown there to like? I feel like the NBA does not use the G League the way baseball uses the minor leagues. They really develop guys like Toppin. Maybe you could use some time in the G League, just like Knox could have like last year to like kind of get their confidence, get them more playing time, then go back to the NBA. Just give him like a couple games down there.
I don't know
narrative.
why.
It's the narrative of the G League. That's what it is. It's basically because the G League is looked at as the lower league, and if you go there, it's like you're not NBA ready, or say you feel like you're a high draft pick, like say Obi, right, and you get shifted there. It's like, oh wow, I wasn't worth my pick. That's the mentality that happens, and sometimes that debilitates the player enough where they'll never come back from it. You know,
Well, but
some things like that happen.
there's mixed. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No,
I
go
do it
ahead.
all the time anyway. There's mixed. There's mixed results, right? So everyone clamored for Frank to go to the G League for several years, right? For the past, I've been hearing that now. This is his fourth year in the league. I mean, I'm still hearing it. So you can look at that and say, well, maybe it would have benefited a kid like him, and then you can look at guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., who learned how to play basketball in the G League and became a player who got 63 or more than that, like
72
million. Thank you. $72 million.
Yeah, how's that etched in your brain? By the way, just go on. But
I remember that Bleacher Report on my notification when I saw 72. I was like, wait, what? How much did we pay this guy?
You know what? I've worked very hard to block out the number, actually. So thank you for that. Set me back like 10 years. But
some of these numbers, like the 68 for Noah, I just had that in my head. I just can't forget it. But go on.
Oh my
So, yeah.
why are we suffering more? Oh man.
I think you're taking the long suffering literally. And,
So let me describe what the show actually is supposed to be about, Mark. Just really quick.
No, so that's all I had to say about the G League. Okay.
No, at some organizations, you see like the Heat, you see like the Raptors seem to find player after player in the G League. That guy Boucher,
Van Vliet, man, undrafted.
Van Vliet just got a crazy amount of money. Like all these teams have guys that weren't even undrafted who look pretty good. The Knicks can't find guys who are drafted who are pretty good. There's a lack of talent on this organization and this team.
Yeah, of course, head to toe.
And I just want to mention one of the biggest reasons, because I didn't think I answered the question here. This is the biggest reason we lost the game. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, that's
33,
nice
33, 23, and 40.
Are you
who's that?
Is the 40 the how much he's going to get paid by the Knicks? Or sorry, I thought Drummond was a goddamn point guard out there. He was dribbling the ball, slashing. The Knicks are like, do whatever you want in your mixtapes. Just do it here on us. And Dotson hit a 3-point. Dotson, who did nothing all night, like, game's over. I've been horrendous. I'm going to burn you guys because you guys didn't pick my contract up.
Yeah, that, in the beginning when he was 0 for 7 from 3, I'm like, oh yeah, he belongs in the G League. Good job. And then all of a sudden I'm like, fucking Damian Dotson, man.
The dagger,
whole team Dot, man. You got to come out there and do me like that. But obviously,
I like Dotson. The Knicks shouldn't have kept him. No problem with him going, but I like him. So, whatever. I'm glad he has some success. Just I wish it wouldn't be a dagger against the Knicks. But.
Oh, it's always that. I mean, what do you expect? It's and by the way, the reason that the Knicks lost this game is 100% that they lost to Andre Drummond and a bunch of dudes. They had no Kevin Love. They had no both of their point guards with the crazy hair. They didn't have Sexton. They didn't have Garland.
Sexland was not there tonight.
He was not. And
I learned that they called him that recently. I didn't even know they called him that till recently. Like what kind of nickname?
It's not him.
Is
it's them.
It's them. It's Sexton and Garland. So
get your pronouns right. It's them.
My Lord.
Okay. It's actually it's
pardon me.
Awesome. It's awesome actually.
Yes. Pardon me with this. Oh my Lord.
And then there was no K Love, as I said like 4 times already. And there was also somebody else not playing who I didn't know who he was, and one other guy who wasn't playing who I can't remember off the top of my head. But the point is, they lost to a team that they shouldn't have lost this game to. And you know how I'm using they instead of us because I'm trying to disassociate myself with the losing? That's some kind of psychology stuff.
We didn't have Alex Burks, and who's actually really good. Is he alive?
Yo, that's sprained ankle.
Holy God. The injury reports. Frank stubbed his toe. We'll never see Frank again.
I've not seen Frank. Alex Burke had a walking boot the other day. I don't know what happened to any Knicks player.
I haven't even seen Frank.
If you're on the injury report for the Knicks, they should count you in the COVID death count because that's probably what happened. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't even seen Frank on like the T. When they pan to the guys like high fiving. I haven't even seen Frank there. Like,
where is he?
Did he go back to France? I mean, I don't know. You're right. That's very funny.
I have no idea at all where some of our injured players are, but one of the good bright spots of the players that we did see tonight was the play of Julius Randle, which continues to fucking be astounding. This guy, when at the helm of the Knicks, is seeming to still lead the team no matter what happens. He still plays consistent defense. He still tries to lead the team. And again, I know we can pick at some of the things he did tonight, and we will get to that. But just his overall play, I still have to give it to him. He's the reason the Knicks were even that close to begin with.
He's been great. It's also so Toppin, I think, will be good. I didn't want him in the draft, but I think he'll end up being good. But it's just the so Knicks be like, hey, let's draft the guy that plays the same position as our best player. The only good player we have on the team, let's draft the guy to replace him.
Let me ask you a question. Who did you want?
So I wanted I actually wanted Hayes, but Hayes went before that. I wanted Tyrese Halliburton. I wanted Halliburton,
right now
he's balling out too.
He's looking great. I didn't understand. Everyone was like, "Oh, he won't be that good. Oh, he's not necessarily a point guard." I'm like, whatever guard he plays, the Knicks need shooting. He can shoot. Why you're not drafting him? Or I would have taken Denny, the guy on Washington,
Avija, whatever that was.
Yeah, who's supposed to be solid, but
he's not looking that. He's not looking that good either. I've seen a couple of his games. Not that great.
You know, that's the problem with
the
problem with those guys is it's very hit or miss with the foreign guys. I don't know, for some reason, it's just seems to be like. I mean, you can end up with anywhere from a scale of like Luka to Frederick Weiss. You know, I mean, it's.
They definitely saw Luka in that guy. They definitely saw Luka in him.
And Killian looks terrible so far. Like, the bit I've seen him, he just cannot shoot whatsoever.
But I don't think there's anything good that comes out of the Pistons ever. I mean, like I can't think, I can't think of the last time they actually,
they gave us Drummond. No, who drafted Drummond, by the way? Who drafted Drummond?
That's a good question.
Not Detroit.
Was it the Hawks or am I crazy? It probably.
No, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up right now, actually.
You know what the best part of a podcast is when all three people Google at the same time?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Detroit picked him up. Detroit picked him up.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Right. I mean,
I'm just saying, they did one good thing. They did one. Drummond came out of there. So.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a long. I forget the bad boy. It just seemed a long time since like Ben Wallace was there, and they were like actually like awesome for a little while.
Oh yeah.
That's true. They did win a championship with Larry Brown and Rip Hamilton and all those guys. They
did.
Yeah, and they drafted Darko Milicic second overall instead of Melo. That was a good move too.
One of the all-time greatest was if they could have just been smart. 5 guys are drafted, 4 of them go to the Hall of Fame. You draft the one guy that's out of the league in a week.
Of course.
If they could have just drafted Melo instead of Darko, that just would have been an interesting one.
You see, that actually would have been the Knicks, but fortunately the Knicks traded away 15 years worth of first-round picks at that point. So it's actually, we saved ourselves from ourselves in a way. So
That's a good way to look at it.
I was going to say, was that your transition to the Harden trade?
It can be now. Go ahead, Troy.
Oh, my Lord. So if you guys don't know already, James Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets for a number of friggin' players. I'm actually going to bring up the players as we speak right now, but it was a blockbuster trade.
Preparation
is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the trade, the Nets send center Jarrett Allen and forward Taurean Prince to Cleveland and guard Karis LeVert and forward Rodness Kirkus. Is that how you say his name? I hope it is.
I don't know.
I definitely think that's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 100%. It's Rodian.
Rodian, whatever. Okay, that guy.
I think, yeah.
Yes, that person. As well as 3 first-round draft picks, 2022, 2024, and 2026. And it's still not done.
It gets better.
4 first-round pick swaps, 2021, 2023, 2025, and oh yes, going all the way to 2027 to Houston. The Rockets also got Dante Exum and the 22 first-round pick draft pick from Cleveland via Milwaukee. And Brooklyn acquired the 2024 second-round draft pick from the Cavaliers to complete the deal.
Don't spend it all in one place.
And the deal will reportedly include a 4th team, the Indiana Pacers, but that aspect of the deal has not been made official yet. But per multiple reports, the Pacers would acquire LeVert and a future second-round pick from the Rockets in exchange for the all-star guard, Victor Oladipo. Mark, thoughts on the Harden trade?
So, they gave up just an absolute ton for him. And you, as a Knicks fan, or just even as a fan of not the Nets, you kind of just want to see this be the Pierce Garnett trade again. You want to see this be a complete disaster for the Nets. And there's a lot of reasons it could be a complete disaster. But if I was the Nets, I have Durant, I have Kyrie in theory if I could find him. I think you got to just like. There's sometimes in life you got to just push all your chips to the center. Like this is it. You got KD. He could leave in a year, or I guess 2, or he can opt out after next season. You have 2 years to win the title. You got him here. If you win the title and you suck the next 8 years, who gives a crap? You won the title. So this was the move. They gave up too much, but I'm for this situation, pushing all your chips to the center and just saying, I'm all in. Let's do this.
So is it finals or bust then?
Oh, well, yes. If you lose in the conference finals, it's a disaster. You have to make the finals, and you really have to win. But I mean, do you disagree? Like, it's win the title or it's a failure.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think 100%. Now you have James Harden, probably the best scorer of this modern generation. Kevin Durant, the most lethal, most accurate shooter that we've ever seen, and then Kyrie Irving, whose ball handling skills are probably up there with Iverson. So that's your big three, right? And you would say arguably Kyrie's the third best player on that squad. And if Kyrie Irving is your third best player on a squad, you have to make it to the finals. And if you don't, you've failed. And I don't think, but the thing is though, for them, you're right. They have to win the championship with that squad, but they won't because they won't take down the Lakers. The Lakers are probably going to be there. Even if the Clippers are there, I don't even think they'll beat the Clippers. Because here's that thing about that squad, the question mark. Who dribbles and who's going to be the spot up? Because we know how big threes work, right? Somebody's the primary ball handler. Somebody is that two person that you can count on in late game. And then somebody that spot up. We saw it in Miami. We see it in all the big threes. We saw it in a way in Boston when they had Ray Allen, when they had Paul Pierce, when they had Kevin Garnett. That's where Ray Allen became that legendary 3-point spot up shooter. But that really wasn't his game when he was really a Sonic. He was kind of going more toward the rim. Yeah, he could shoot three still though, but he primarily focused on that with the big three in the Celtics because he needed to do that. So that's what I'm like. I don't understand what the dynamic is going to be on that squad. Who's going to be like, what's the roles going to be? Well,
the NBA just changed the rules. I don't know if you're aware, but they're going to allow 3 basketballs during the Brooklyn Nets games. So, and you can actually get like a 9-point play now. So, you don't have to worry about that because they changed the rules. So you're good. You can just have 3 basketballs now. And in all seriousness,
do you think they could convince? The question is it just going to be like, okay, guys, this possession, Harden's going to dribble and no one else is going to do anything. This possession, it's just going to be Kyrie dribbling and no one else is going to do anything. Like, can you convince, say, James Harden to do anything when he doesn't have the ball? Will he move around at all? Can you convince, where's the defense coming from?
Tell me the last time you saw James Harden cut to the rim. I'll wait.
Without the ball? Yeah, you're right. Never.
I was going to love the first practice where he's like, I'm just going to dribble up. Kyrie, just stand in the corner. He'd be like, fuck you. Okay, this is going to
stand where? Stand where, bro? I came here before you. What do you mean?
No, Kyrie, look, Kyrie needs to retire, first of all. Okay, he's such a waste of talent. He can't get it. First of all, he believes the world is flat. Okay, and I've spent enough time on him. The issue that the Nets are going to have is finding a way to mold and mesh quickly enough to make them into an instant championship team because they don't have a lot of time. It's already, what have they played? 10, 11 games already in their where it's a 72-game season. So yeah, in theory, 60 plus games is a lot of time like together on the court, but in order to be a championship team, because you have a 2-year window now before I think Harden's contract is up since he didn't sign that extension. I believe it's in 2 years, might be 3 years. Again, how prepared I am.
He has a player option.
Okay, all right.
I think they all can leave after next season, which will be hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if it did, so you have to find a way very quickly to get cohesion to make this team a championship contender. And I'm just not sure Steve Nash, he's more of just kind of like, the figurehead. I'm not really sure that this team has it in them personally to get that accomplished. Plus, you can't win a championship with just 3 guys. I know we talked about big threes in Miami and, Shaq and Kobe were kind of more of like a big 2, but there's a lot of role players that did their job on that team outside. And they got rid of Allen too, outside of Harris and Dinwiddie is hurt. I'm not sure there's What happens? I mean, those guys are injury prone. Those two, Kyrie and KD. You know, and what are you going to do?
I mean, they all have to be healthy. You also, but after the trade deadline, there's always guys that get bought out. So you'll get one or two guys who are like vets who get bought out who may come in there also.
Like a Richard Jefferson who'll make another comeback.
Yeah, convince him to come back. Vince Carter will come back for year 47.
He might actually.
Watch the Cavaliers trade
from your lips
Drummond to Brooklyn. Watch for more picks till 2037.
Yeah,
they're gonna trade all their picks to 2037, and they're gonna get Drummond, and then they're gonna be the
turn the team around faster anyway. Yeah, so
Cleveland, you get the 30s. Knicks, you give us Randall, you get the 40s. Just give out the rest of the century.
Might as well.
Yeah, so, I would say. I mean, they're going to be a really good team. I mean, we're all kind of also assuming they're going to make it to the finals. If they make it to the finals, they can pretend it's a success, and the Lakers is just a tough matchup. The question is, are they going to make it to the finals? Are they good enough to beat Milwaukee? Are they going to beat Philly? They have a lot of offense, obviously a lot of offense, and they'll figure out a way to play together. And I guess I'm going to the adage of defense wins titles, but like, I don't know, is Durant your best defensive player? And he's solid, but I mean, Kyrie, like DeAndre Jordan is, I mean, they may not want to tell him. They may want to just put him on, like, hey, you were exposed, DeAndre. You can't come to any more games. Just put him on quarantine the rest of the way. There's not a lot there for defense, and that is concerning. And I'm wondering, like, what that's going to mean for the playoffs when things slow down. And it'll be interesting. I want to watch them. I mean, you guys, I'm not a Net fan. I don't like watching them. But now I kind of want to watch them.
I still don't want to watch them. No.
You're not interested?
No. I think maybe playoff time I would maybe be interested, but I don't know.
I couldn't bring myself to watch the Nets game. I definitely watch the highlights though, because I always have SportsCenter on and stuff like that. So I'll probably watch those stuff. And like maybe if it's a premier matchup and the Knicks are not playing that night, like if it's on like, you know, and TNT or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll tune into one of those games because I like watching inside the NBA and all that stuff. So I don't mind watching that stuff.
You know what we've done now? We have now made Around the NBA the entire podcast, which is okay.
We could cut back to the Knicks, and we didn't talk about quickly this yet. Well, we kind of did, but you guys want to talk more about quickly?
Yeah, I think quickly is a steal at number 25. I think he is a bona fide starting guard in the NBA, and nobody is going to convince me otherwise. He can create his own shot. He's excellent at going to the free throw line. He's lights out from the free throw line, and he can shoot the three. And if you saw the second he got out there, the Knicks won a 12-0 run in 2 minutes. I mean, he is the catalyst on both ends of the floor. And he's an exceptional talent in the very small sample size that we've seen. And it's strange to me that somebody's like panning out immediately because that's not like, you know, the Nick way. So,
right. We don't draft guys who are good at basketball. So this is weird.
Right.
He's looked really good. Certain things I'd like to see more from him. And he shot like 7 threes tonight, so I like that. I want to see more of him shooting the three. He's a great shooter. Let's see more of that. I want to see him going to the basket. He does a lot of the floaters. I'd like to see him draw contact and go to the rim a little more. He didn't get a lot of foul calls tonight. I just like to see him go to the rim a little more. He got blocked a couple times on the floaters. It's a shot that the more this game film around, more people are scouting him, the more that floater's not going to work. He's got to mix it up a little bit.
You're right. But he also needs to improve his body a little bit. I mean, he's still young. It's like 19, 20 years old. He's still young. But if he's going to go to the paint hard and bang, like with the bodies down there, he's going to get crushed.
Yeah.
So he does need to work on that a little bit.
He also
I agree.
He also kind of drives so that he gets into the paint and does that, like, gets on, like, he goes to his pivot foot and he realizes he's not going to do the floater. He's not going to go to the basket, and kind of gets this trap where he has to kind of like jump to like pass the ball to get out of there. And he needs to have a little more of a plan when he gets there.
That's true. And the other thing, and you talked about it, I just wanted to touch upon it, that he has not been getting the free throw line as much. And the reason for that is obviously they're scouting him. But what a lot of teams are doing is saying, go ahead and shoot. They're not falling for the fakes. They're not falling for the pumps. You know, he's going to have to shoot his way into drawing more fouls. And that's going to come as he's getting scouted. And then again, he shot the ball pretty well tonight. But you need to see, the way in his first few games. I don't know if you guys remember, it was like he was drawing fouls constantly. So
right. He was. It was also just like odd, like not active shooting. Like I just jumped somewhere, and the guys then they call a foul, and we're just going to take the ball out again from the sideline. It was
guys. Really quickly, I just wanted to get your no pun intended on that, by the way. Julie, want to get your.
You should just say always pun intended, but go on. Yeah.
I just wanted to get your thoughts really quickly again, just on Julius Randle's play for tonight. What did you guys see in Julius Randle? Just really quickly, did you like what you saw, or do you think that he dropped the ball too many times for us?
I mean that the foul at the end where it was the clear path foul, that was idiotic. Otherwise, though, he is by far the best player on the team. It's not even close. He only turned the ball over once. Also, he passes the ball. What you wanted from last year, you watched him, you said, hey, he's a good scorer. He's an elite scorer to some extent, but I want him to stop this goddamn dribbling. I want him to stop this spitting into traffic. I want him to pass the ball and play some goddamn defense. And he's like, I've heard you, Knicks Twitter. I'm going to do all that this year. Like he's playing solid defense. I mean, he's passing the ball. At this point, you don't sign him to a max contract. You don't have to do anything because you can just re-up him next year. But I'd build around him right now. I mean, let's see what happens, but he's by far your best player.
Are you listening to trades?
No. I mean, you're always, I guess, quote unquote, listening to trades, but what's going to do for you? No one's going to give you a top 10 pick for him. And are you going to find Julius Randle and pick 24 of the first round?
Nope. Not at all.
That's what I mean. The only team that would really be interested in Julius Randle is going to be a competitor at this point, right? Or maybe a team that thinks they can compete next year. But you're not really going to get. You're going to have to find another quickly, and I don't think that that's compensatory for the way he's playing right now and for what he means to this team. If you remove Julius Randle from this team, they're going to win like 15 games. No joke.
Which is fine, I guess, because you want to draft high, I guess. But like, he's 3 years older than Toppin. I hope Toppin's this good when he gets to 3 years from now. Like, Randle's 26. What do you want from a guy to like build around him?
Yeah, I mean, hey, you're the only reason why earlier I said that I wouldn't build around him at this point is just because I'm in a holding pattern. I'd like to see over the course of a 72 game season, what his impact is ultimately, and I'd like to see what we can do with him next year. I also think it's foolish to re-up somebody when you have him in a team-friendly team option next year.
Of course, you ride this out. You see what it looks like next season. You can give a big contract after that, but you sign this deal, you stick with the deal, and just see how it goes.
Right,
I'm just
it's a smart business decision. Yeah,
I'm just saying he's playing well. If you added other good players, the team would look a lot better. It's not his fault that Elfrid Payton sucks at basketball. It's not his fault that like Reggie Bullock is brought in here to shoot threes and can't do that. It's not his fault this team lacks talent. You put a better team around him, he'll look a lot. Everyone keeps saying like RJ Barrett, if there was only shooters around him, that he'd look so much better. Well, yeah, if Randle had shooters around him, holy crap, he'd look a lot better.
And he already looks pretty good, number one. And do you see how much better he made the guys around him still?
Yeah.
Right.
Still.
I mean, the way he's setting guys up, there was that game they played against Toronto where the Knicks were 3 for 36 from three and atrocious. But someone, I forget the name of who did it pointed this out on Twitter, but it was something like of the 33 shots the Knicks missed from three, 15 of them came on passes from Randle. He set up 15 open threes, just the Knicks couldn't hit him. But like, it was like, it's not his fault they're not going down, but he's looking for his teammates. He's setting them up. There was some play earlier in the season where he was driving to the basket. I was like on a breakaway, but it just like, it was one of those plays. It was near the end of a quarter where he just normally just taken the ball and like gone for traffic and tried to score. He just hit, I think, Knox on a perfect pass and Knox nailed the three. And I was like, wow, our point guard can't do that. Thank you, like Randle.
And the screens he's putting as well, like, I remember the game against the Jazz where he freed up Rivers for one of those big threes that he hit because he played like a really great screen. Like his defense, I said it 2 shows ago, I'll say it again. His defense is so underrated. He has upped his defense tremendously, and you can see him as one of the anchors. He starts that defense, and when he does that, it's contagious. The entire team gets behind him. He has fully taken on that leadership role. You can see it, and it's in his playmaking. The team trusts him, and you can see that trust. So even like in a game like this, and it was a tough loss, don't get me wrong, a lot of bad things happened in the loss, but I like competitive basketball. And a lot of that game, maybe about half of it wasn't that competitive. That second half, though, when they came out in the third, that's the type of basketball I expected to see every quarter. And I didn't get that. It's a young team under, Thibodeau, first year, so they're still learning. I get that. But
yeah, he'll come back. It's okay. He'll come back. They always come back.
Yeah, we our show could be called Technical Difficulties and the New York Knicks.
Hey, there you go. See, that's actually look. Listen, do you want to just rebrand the show? I mean, you're changing the around the NBA is the whole show. You're changing our intro song, and now you're changing the name. I mean, look, you know what? Here's what we'll do. We're just going to give you guys. We're going to give you the password, and we'll take it from there, okay? But I just wanted.
I have a question for you. Troy, when Troy comes back, we can talk to him. But what are like the Knicks bench? They have like they roll 8, 9, 10 deep. There are certain guys that never got, and I'm not talking about Dennis Smith because he doesn't deserve to play. But like what? Or I guess I am talking about Dennis Smith, Jared Harper, Iggy, Theo Pinson. What's the point of having them on the roster? Just in case someone gets injured? I'm just in the sense of like, are the Knicks going to develop these guys? Do they think they have a future, or are they just placeholder? Like, why not find someone else in the G League or someone else that can just find an undrafted free agent, give them their spot on the roster? If you're not gonna, they have no use for the team.
I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, Theo Pinson probably doesn't even belong on the roster, to be honest. I really think that the guys that don't make the rotation, maybe one vet, and I don't mean Theo Pinson, like a Taj Gibson is actually like an okay guy to ride the bench.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, those guys really, I think that's where you're right. I think you either utilize the G League in that fashion, or they've got to really earn it in practice to get any minutes. I guess it's kind of a good thing in a way that they're in a sick way that they're not getting minutes, because it means that there isn't a ton of garbage time for these guys to play. But you're right. I mean, is a rotation of 8 sustainable, 8, 9 guys sustainable over the course of a season where there's a lot more back-to-backs and a lot more, games in a shorter period of time to squeeze them in because of COVID?
It's just that you look at it and go like, Peyton, you look like trash tonight. Hey, Harper, you get a shot tonight. Just throw some of these guys out there if the team's losing anyway. My guess is Harper and Pinson are going to spend a lot of time in the G League. That's the plan. My guess is Dennis Smith, I don't know why he's on the roster anymore. And my guess with Iggy is that Tibbs has looked at him and goes, he's not an NBA player. I'm just waiting for him to be off the roster. I don't think he has any faith. Like Iggy, you would think would be playing. It's his second season if the coach had a lick of faith in him.
Yeah, Iggy's a conundrum. I agree with you. I everybody always says, how come Iggy gets no burn? How come he gets no burn? Well, Iggy and Tibbs can answer that question, because I think my best guess would be that there's just not a spot for him. I think there's too many guys that are significantly better than him, and I'd hate to see him kind of just rot.
Yeah, but, I assume it's the practice thing. I assume Tibbs sees in practice and just goes, this guy's just not that good and got to get better in practice. I'm just looking at so many other teams that have all these guys who are like undrafted, or they found this guy in the G League who are pretty good. The Knicks never seem to have these guys. The Knicks need to find more young talent. I've been saying this for a while. They find guys in the G League, undrafted. They need to develop players like the way the Raptors, the Heat, all these other teams are doing. The Heat have Duncan Robinson's one of the best shooters in the league. It was undrafted. The Knicks are like, yay, Kevin Knox in his third year can finally shoot. Like, it's just a different team.
Yes. And Troy, welcome back. Welcome back, sir.
Is Troy back?
Well, he was back, and now he is gone again. Troy, oh, man, all you're doing is making the editing really unfun. And conveniently, I'm the guy who edits it now, so...
How much time? Oh, there he's back.
All right, I just got lost my connection again.
Troy, is Troy
sorry
back?
about that.
Hey, Troy, hang on. Stop interrupting, okay? Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Jesus.
Apologize.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Welcome back, man. We were just talking about how Iggy gets no burn and how what the fuck's going on with that, and how come they have such a short bench, and how come guys like Harper don't play, and why the hell is Theo Pinson on the Knicks, things like that. But we'll get back on the script and we can segue into what you wanted to talk about next since you're back. And welcome back, because we're going to wrap up the show here in a few minutes because people's attention spans are short, and including mine. So go ahead.
Okay. I got you. I got you. All right. Catching back up. So we're going to start back from the Celtics thing. Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time, the Knicks take on the Celtics. You know, that team that has Tatum and Brown. A lethal combination. I heard, though, that Tatum may not be there. So, still with COVID-19 protocols. So we don't know what's going to happen there. Mark, what do you think the Knicks have to do to pull out a win against a very ready Boston Celtics team?
Tell the NBA that Jaylen Brown was also exposed to COVID.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, somebody tried to do that on Twitter for Alfred the other night. So, I mean, I don't know if you saw that.
I remember seeing that.
So at this point, I wouldn't mind I don't know if Tibbs is up for this, but let's switch the starting lineup a little bit, and maybe let's put quickly in the starting lineup, put Payton to the bench, maybe start Rivers, get Burks back. I don't know, but mix things up a little bit.
Burks with a boot might honestly be more productive than
crap.
Bullock.
What a tease. Hey, you signed this guy for nothing. He scores 20 points a game of the first 4 games. The Knicks is like, holy crap, where did we find him? And now he's never going to play again. Unbelievable.
I know. It's like, you remember that Antonio McDyess trade? Yeah.
Why? That's why. We didn't even need to go there.
You could, you should have
because
a tagline.
It's important to never forget history, okay? Because remember where you were, so you never get back there.
You should have a thing when you say, remember Antonio McDyess, and this shows Long Suffering Knicks fan. It's just got a little tagline that plays every time you say something like that.
I was telling him, I think this was while you were gone, Troy. Yeah. So, pretty much he needs to just rebrand our whole show. He already told us to fix the intro. He told us we should change the name. We should have all these different little things revolving around McDyess, and Frederick Weiss. I mean,
I blame you for McDyess. You're the one who just brought that up. You're the cause for McDyess.
Well, but he's the I wouldn't have gotten there if he didn't take me there. So I think we need to.
You're definitely blaming our special guest for everything that's happened here today.
No, well, he derails shows. That's what he does.
I do. I've admitted that. I definitely derail shows. I was just going to say you guys should have a long suffering segment also each week where you're like long suffering Knicks fans. Remember fat Raymond Felton. He was good at first. He was fat when he came back to the Knicks. We remember fat Felton.
Jay, are you taking notes about this, by the way? Because we have to do this. I'm in for that one. I'm stealing that one tomorrow.
That's
I'm
actually
making that
incredible.
video tomorrow. I'm not even lying.
No, it's actually. You just need to find if you can an extremely overweight Felton. Google overweight Felton.
No offense to Raymond Felton, but that's really not going to be.
Or just find 1,000-pound man and just put Raymond Felton's name over him.
It superimpose his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting back on course here as best as I can. Jay,
I'm sorry. I just Googled overweight Raymond Felton. And the first thing that comes up is a Bleacher Report article. It says Raymond Felton is tired of being called.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. We have fallen so far. So far. Knick fans, if you're still with us at this point in the show, I want to bless your beautiful hearts for staying with us.
All right, guys.
I'm going to try to get us back on course here once again. Jay, please tell me, without mentioning Antonio McDyess, what is going on with Celtics versus Knicks this Sunday? How did the Knicks pull one out against them?
So every team seems to be playing the zone against the Knicks, which I've kind of said before. The way you beat the zone is you attack it. So you either got to work inside out and kick out to open shooters and actually make shots, or you just have to outright shoot over it and make shots. Whatever it does, whatever you do, it involves making shots. So how are the Knicks going to beat the Celtics? The answer is making shots. There's no way around it because you're not going to be able, if Tatum doesn't play, that's a blessing. But as you could see, when Cleveland has half of their lineup missing, they still win. So this is really going to come down to, limit the damage from Kemba, limit the damage from Brown, do everything that you can to hold those guys to under 30 points. and you're going to have to really buckle down on defense. No points in the paint, and do your best to beat the zone. You're going to have to knock down shots. They've gotten open looks. You just can't rely on RJ Barrett to consistently make threes, which he did better tonight. And you can't rely on Julius Randle to be making these. You need more aggressiveness from Quickly, and you really just need to knock down shots. That's the key to the game.
Is there an alternative path? Just to say, like, I don't know, if I'm the Knicks, I'm just like, hey, I heard your plan. Is there an alternative path besides making shots? Because making shots is not what we do anymore.
No. I think. Look, if the Knicks could get points in the paint, I mean, that would be like, ideal when you can't shoot. Or if you had, if Mitchell Robinson could develop a little bit more of a game inside, and then that would force him to double him down low and he could kick it out, and maybe we can pray somebody can make a shot. But yeah, you're right. There isn't really an alternative. Kind of got to make shots.
I guess in the name of development, like Mitchell Robinson, could the Knicks find a way, like, just practice during the game, like open up his offensive game? He's very athletic. I know he has no real post game, but why not just give him the ball more in the post, just see what happens? I know it sounds ridiculous.
Enough, but they can't spread the floor enough. They don't have enough shooters to do that, because it doesn't matter how many potential shooters they have. Every single opponent knows, because they've seen the tape and they've, read down the sheet. So they know that our shooters aren't there, and they see our injury reports. There's no need to jump out of them. You see how many open shots that Rivers had tonight?
Yeah.
He didn't make them. And if he had made them, the game is different.
I think he's hurt.
Well, that too, yeah.
He was hurt.
He was hurt. Yeah.
I mean, isn't it crazy also, just maybe 4 games of the season, the Knicks led the league in 3-point percentage?
Well, yeah, and you're right. And I was saying that there's no way in hell they're going to keep that up. Like, they're going to come back to earth.
Definitely said that. He definitely going to be a drop.
That wasn't really a magic ball, and like that wasn't an amazing prediction, but
correct.
Yeah,
well, I think the term I used was regress to the mean, and they have now dipped below the mean.
Did you regress to the mean or regress to suck? Because the Knicks often do that part, regress to suck.
Well, we try to stay positive here at Long Suffering, so
I can tell in your name.
He by the name.
Yes. So anyway, guys, this has been a blast. Raymond Felton's tired of being called fat. So, we should be more sensitive.
I want to thank our. Okay, you can go ahead. Say one more thing. You can go ahead. We're about to end the show, but go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want a segment for next week, Long Suffering remembers when the Knicks were 2-1, had just beaten the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first year they won 17 games.
That's
another one for you guys.
Yes. Thank you. Or there's actually too many. There's too many.
There's too many.
And also, if I spoil it now, then I don't have any for like after next week. So because
I've been rooting for the Knicks for forever. You're never going to run out.
Well, I mean, until we hit like the 90s and then the 70s. But yeah.
So I want to make an announcement. I've never internally cried on this show until today.
This is a much needed change of pace. It was fun. It's always nice after a loss to be able to joke around about it, because there's nothing funny about it. Or it's just when you kind of expect it. But Troy, I think take it away with your famous closing tagline, and we'll.
Oh well, you're too nice for giving me the reins there, Jay. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I've done my fair share of derailing, the entire show.
I'm. Thank you guys for having me on. This was very fun.
Yes.
I'm happy to derail any future episode you guys want.
Yeah, I think we'll call you. Don't call us. So
you could definitely catch Mark on the New York Knicks podcast and the Brink of Sanity podcast, and you can follow Jay and Mark on Twitter at NY Knicks Podcast. We will definitely have both of them on at some point, and I cannot wait for that show. It's probably going to be an hour and a half, because we're going to have a lot of shit to talk about, and that one's going to be an unedited version. So you guys are going to hear the most outlandish shit possible. And with that, I just want to say, whether we win, whether we lose, Knick fans, keep suffering.